This is my Miss Sunflower Country Girl vintage Coke bottle. Guys, this is my next uh, addition to my painted bottle series that I have here on my channel. I love painting on bottles. I love creating a little characters, a little cute little faces. And so I love painting them up. I've found some vintage Coke bottles at a yard sale a couple of years ago. So I've been using them up out of the box. And so I have been painting on them. I have done Santas. I've done some Uncle Sam's. I've done bunnies. I've done leprechauns. I've done several other things. And now I have a Miss Sunflower Country Girl to add to my collection. And so, guys, what I did to add the paint before I added some Boss Bond, which is like Slick Stick by Dixie Belle. It just kind of acts as a primer. Then I just painted the bottle Yankee Blue. That's a Dixie Belle color as well. Then I'm just going to be painting a cute little face for my little country girl. I'm going to be adding some hair just with paint. Then I also decided to add some jute yarn hair to it. I had a couple of different, because I'm doing two little bottles that I'm going to be offering in my shop. So I had two hats that I got at Hobby Lobby on clearance. And I said, this would be perfect to put the little hat on there and then decorate it with little sunflowers, embellishments, baby's breath, just different things like that, and just make her all country cute. Alrighty, guys, I'm making an advice from a sunflower decor piece. I started off with this 8x8 wood panel. I just gave it just a coat of antique wax. That is my favorite way to give some stain to my wood pieces. I'm also using this advice from a sunflower printable that I will have available for you as a free download in my shop. I'll have the link for it in the description box. All right, guys, so I just printed it off on just regular copier paper. And so then now I am just ripping it to give it the tattered look. Now you could use the like water method, like with the paintbrush and just water to kind of, soften that. But I just use my finger and guide it and just rip the edges just to give me the tattered look that I want. Then I'm going to go ahead and just stain around it just using my vintage photo distress ink and just my little finger dauber. That just gives me that little aged look that I like for my projects, and I go around the entire piece for this little printable. Then to kind of help for it to prevent from smearing, I have this spray sealer that I like to spray on my printables. That kind of helps with any kind of smearing or smudging or anything like that. And then to give it some dimension, I just have just some foam board that I am just cutting down to size, a little bit smaller than the actual printable, because I want the tattered edges to hang off the side. Then I just use the Vintage Photo Distress ink just to go around the edges of the board, just so that it doesn't expose any of the white of that foam board. Isn't this project just turning out so cute? So to attach the printable to the foam board, I'm just using the Mod Podge heat transfer method, just using my little Cricut mini heat press as the iron. So I just attach that down. Then what I'm going to do is add a little bit more. I want a little bit more dimension. I'm making this more of a shadow box. So I'm just using some tumbling tower blocks and my stick fast glue just to glue those blocks inside the board, and then glue my printable there to that. I just use my little gator sander just to sand around the edges to expose a little bit of the wood. And so then to seal my little, this is totally optional, but I do like to seal my little printable, and I just use my gloss sealer as and just brush that on. I think this is Dixie Belle gloss sealer that I like, and that when I spray that on the printable that I did before I started working with it, that helps with no smudging when it works with your printables. And so that is a really good tip, and you will find that in my Amazon store. All right, so then for a little decorative look, I'm just using these nails or tacks that I had. These are like 1 inch like antique bronze tacks that I got. And so I'm just using my hole piercer just to get a little bit of the hole, and then just using my little hammer to nail those in. I'm just going to be putting 3 of those in each corner, because at the top I put the little bow, and I'm going to show you how I do that next, because I do get a lot of questions of how I make my little rag bows. So for the little rag bows, what I'm using is a bow dabra. This is the larger bow dabra. They also have a mini one, but this one is the regular size. You can get them on Amazon, or you can get them in the like ribbon section at Hobby Lobby. All right, so then the key to a good bow is layering. So guys, I just have just some fabric, and I just kind of ripped it in 1 inch strips, some a little more, some a little less, and just making the loops, going back and forth, putting it in my bow dabra. That kind of acts like the fingers, and so I'm just twisting it, turning the right side up so that it all looks really nice. Then just to, I forgot to put my little bind wire in there. Usually I put that in before, but I totally forgot, so I just hold it together and then just twist it so it looks, it's all together there. I did trim a lot of the tails off, off camera. Because that's the boring part, but you just kind of trim that down to the size that you want. Then now what I'm doing is adding some sisal grass. That is that wispy stuff that I love so much, that I put in my bows and in my projects. You can get that off of Amazon as well. And then I just attach my bow there at the top. I like to use my little stapler, glue, all of that good stuff. Then the bind wire, I use that also as I just make little curly cues. I had curled them down, but then I was like, I want to add some little rusty jingle bells. And so I use that little bind wire to adhere or attach my little jingle bells on there as well. And so that it all ties in together. I also added some little sisal ribbon here, twine. And I think I got this over at Hobby Lobby. And then just layering is really the key to a cute little bow. That looks so much better with those little rusty jingle bells on there. I think I got those at Christmas time from Hobby Lobby. I'm not quite sure what the millimeter is, but they're just, the perfect size for this little decor piece. Then I'm just using some Stiffen Quick spray on my ribbon bow, or my fabric bow rather, just to give it a little bit of body. Then I have some yellow and white pip berries that I'm just sticking there in the fabric bow. And I think this just turned out adorable. If you would like to make one of these yourself, you can find the free download in my shop over at countrycharmbytracy.com, or just check the description box for the link. These are my little denim and beehive or bee skeep bowl fillers. Now, guys, I am starting with some denim jeans. These are just tattered jeans that I had on hand, and this is what I'm going to make. I cut off the pockets from the back of the jeans, but I decided to keep those for a different project that I'll be using in an upcoming video. But I decided to use the pant leg of these. So I'm just cutting them down. And the actual little fabric labels are from Willow Heart Prims on Etsy. She was so kind and sent these to me. And so they're already sublimated on fabric. They're not going to smear or anything like that. You can Mod Podge over them, put sealer on it, all that kind of thing, anything you want to do. And so I'm just adding some ink here. I'm also going to be adding some coffee grunge and cinnamon and all of that good stuff. So guys, I am not a sewer. I wish I was, but I just use my little glue, my Fabri-Tac glue, just to make my little pockets. I'm also, putting in some polyfill, and so then I'm just going to be decorating these up a little bit. So I just am adding some buttons, and then I was like, you know what, I want to grunge these up a little bit more. So I have some of this distressing ink that I had on hand, and so I added a little bit of that. I'm also adding some spray sealer and some glitter, because I do like a little glistening glitter and little diamond dust to my little projects. And so I'm also going to be adding some Mod Podge and some coffee, some instant coffee, just to different parts of the little pockets, just to give a little primitive country look. These little bowl fillers are, little shelf tucks, any kind of little, just a little extra that you just want to put around for your little decorating, decor, little vignette. Just really turns out cute. All right, so then I'm going to be making a couple of beehives or bee skeeps that go with this little project. So I just have this burlap. It's probably about a 4-inch piece. I'm just adding some Mod Podge on it just to give it a little bit of form. Then I just hand drew a pattern for a beehive or a bee skeep and just cut 2 of those out. Then just using my glue, I just glue those together, stuff some polyfill. Then I just cut out some fabric for the little hole of the little bee skeep, and then that just turns out so cute. I just added some little decorative embellishments to it so that it all ties in together, and I just absolutely love how these turned out, and they're perfect for the whole summer season. Friends, this Everything Summer is an open playlist with my beautiful friends Lady Red Crafting and Our Gray House. Guys, I am their guest host for this Everything Summer video collaboration that we have. It is an open playlist. I'll have a link for that in the description box below. I've had so much fun crafting and creating with you guys. I appreciate y'all inviting me to collaborate with y'all, and I always have a fun time. Have a great day, everyone. God bless you. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.